The mothers are giving their breast milk to these children. How this breast milk is produced in the body, if it has to be pressed out, it comes out in trickles. Small, 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 small. However, as the more the baby sucks of this breast milk, the more the body is stimulated to produce more milk. But it comes up small, small. And the baby takes in this milk small, small. And the baby also at this stage is eating sometimes 20 times in a day. It will decrease to 15 times. It will decrease to 10 times. Finally, when it gets to a stage, the baby will regularize to 3 or 4 square meals in a day. But from the point they started, you watch the baby. 2 months old baby is grown. 4 months old baby is grown. 5 months. Now, the baby on his own or her own does not know that it's growing. But it's growing. When you were all growing, some of you that are very tall, you gave so much problems to your parents. They buy you a shoe, a canvas with every other child. To start a term, those days we didn't have, they call them terms. And by the mid-term, you're complaining that the shoe is getting too tight. And so the parents have to buy, I have so many shoes bought in my house. I think we need to use them for One Hope on the 2nd of April. Canvas shoes, good shoes. They didn't wear them for 3 months. They've outgrown them. But the child does not know that it's growing. The same thing with your life. If you allow the process of taking in small, small, you will not even know when you are growing. The next thing that happens is what I would call accumulation. To gather and add. As you are growing, you are gathering, you're adding weight, you're adding height. And lastly, there's diversification. To vary, to spread out. When a child is tall and is not spreading out, you look at this child and say, you're tall for nothing? That means to say that your height should be commensurate with other things like your wisdom. The Bible records about Jesus in the book of Luke that the child grew. The child grew. It grew in 3 areas: in stature, in strength, in wisdom. I want to do some PowerPoint presentation. I want to show you something on the board here. Now, I wanted to do this presentation with River Niger, which you know about. But I could not, even on the net, open your destiny. You cannot find any film showing the source of the River Niger. And I had to go to the biggest river in the world, the Amazon River. It's not in Africa. I would have loved to use an African example. But incidentally, the Amazon River is the largest river in the whole world. The Amazon River contains 20% of the total freshwater body in the whole world. You know, we have 2 kinds of water, salt water and fresh water. The freshwater bodies in the world, they are so essential for us. Without fresh water, you won't have water to drink. You don't drink salt water. We drink fresh water. And the Amazon River provides 40% of the whole fresh water in the world. When you see the beginning of that river, it's trickling from a mountain. I love the fact that they put a cross at that point. I want to let you know everything begins with God. And the application here is this. This water begins to flow from that mountain and flow down and flow down and flow down and flow down. You had the man say it floats for over 4,000 kilometers. Nothing is stopping the growth. Nothing is stopping the flow. So I want to repeat something here. For anything in life, even though it starts small, you must allow it to flow. Whatever you want to grow in life, allow it to grow. It's not going to be sudden. Black man, it's not going to be sudden. Black man, it's not going to be by magic. You don't make money by magic. Money doesn't come to anybody by magic. Wealth does not come by magic. Wealth does not come by holding all nights. Wealth does not come by casting out devils. I have seen people who are very devilish, very demonized, rich. So start thinking right. Laying on of hands will not give you wealth. I can lay hands until I lose all my fingers. It will change nothing. How does it come? Precept upon precept. Principles upon principles. Systems upon systems. Systems upon systems. Principles upon principles. The basic principle in life when it comes to financial prosperity is the principle of the seed and the harvest. When you look into those slides, what you are seeing is this. Those trickles coming out from the mountain, that's the seed. And at the mouth where it opens up into the Atlantic, that is the harvest. Along the line from the beginning of the seed to the harvest, there is a flow. It has to be a continuous flow. No dam, no abortion is allowed to take place. And when that happens over time, you will get some result. It works in every area of life. Hear me. I'll show you something I did a couple of years back. About 6 years ago, I was talking to a team about revival, the prayer team. They were praying and praying and praying, and they were getting weary. They said, we've just finished a 40 days all night. I said, listen to me. I wrote this. It used to be on my wall. It said, every revival requires intentionality and consistency, consistent focus over time, over time, over time. But we want to see things happen like this. God could stand in Genesis chapter 1. Let there be light, let there be day, let there be land, let there be sea, let there be this. He didn't do that. He has all the powers. He's the Almighty. All might, all power. But he took his time. The evening, the morning, were the first day. He spoke things again. The evening, the morning, were the second day. Hear me, children of God. We need to apply God's principles. The source of the Amazon is the seed. It now went through the lands of Peru, down, way down, empties itself into the ocean. The growth of the river was not stopped. And hear me, somebody, as the river begins to flow, other water bodies, they are being fed. As rain falls from the ground, they all flow. That is the power of multiplication, and that power is not in your hands, it's in God's hands. Paul can plant, Apollos can water. It takes God to give increase. Zechariah chapter 4. Zechariah chapter 4. In Zechariah chapter 4 from verse 8 to 10, the Bible reading says, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this temple. His hands also shall finish it. Then you will know that the Lord of hosts has sent me to you. For who has despised the day of small beginnings? For who has despised the days of small beginnings? For who has despised the days of small beginnings? Hear me, everyone. Don't despise your small beginning. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Don't despise your small beginning. don't you despise it. You can come from a hamlet. You can come from a village called Egbama or Bogolo. You can come from anywhere. You can come from a family where nobody has ever finished a secondary school. You can come from a lineage where nobody has ever built a block house. But hear me, somebody. Inside of every human being made in the image and likeness of God is your seed for greatness. God won't give you a mango if you ask for a mango. He's not going to give you a mango tree. He's going to give you a mango seed. There's a seed on each inside of everyone. God deals with seed. He gives the seed, and then when you allow the seed over time, listen to the word over time. Job chapter 7 verse 8. Job 8:7. Job chapter 8 verse 7. Though your beginning was small, yet your later end will increase abundantly. If you don't abort the process, it will grow, it will increase, it will abound. But if you abort the process, allow the waters to flow from the rocks, and somebody goes there to dig something across it, a dam, or a family decides to direct the water to water there, it will not, over time, it will not become the great river, you see. Principles I want us to draw here. Number one, believe in your small beginning. Come from a small family, it's not an issue. It does not take many rubber seeds to make up a rubber plantation. One rubber can become a big rubber tree and then give birth to seeds that will sparkle all over. It could be limited resources. You could be struggling with something, and I want to assure everyone here, all of you, no matter how dressed, no matter how strong your colon is, every one of you is struggling with something. I am also struggling with something. We struggle between what we have and what we want to have. We struggle between where we are and where we ought to be, where we want to be. But God has made man in such a way, he does not give you what you should be. He gives you something that you are going to use to become what you should be. When you say, God, make me great, God says, fine, I'm going to give you a seed of greatness. And plants that seed on your inside. And when he does that, for a nation, for instance, I want a great nation. I believe I want a great nation. In the early 80s in the university, taught of courses like colonialism, imperialism, how Africa was underdeveloped by Europe, and so on. We had bright hopes that one day we're going to stand out as the G10 of the nations. One day we're going to stand out looking at our population potential, looking also at the resource potentials. But listen, in spite of our population, in spite of our resources, if our systems and principles in life are not right, listen to me, I told you, it's like a compass. If you're meant to be going to the north and you're using a compass that is pointing somewhere else, you will never arrive in the north. So it has to do with principles. It has to do with systems. Nobody is poor by accident. No family is poor by accident. And let me say this to you, that to be poor is a choice and it is deliberate. To be poor is a choice. You want to be rich? It's a choice. If you allow the growth process to take place, there is always a seed available to everyone. Number two, begin everything with the little you have. I made an example of Jesus looking at 5,000 people and lifting up 5 loaves of bread from a child. And I don't think that a child, listen carefully, I don't think that a child will carry 5 normal size of bread for lunch. So when you read that story, think. No child will carry 5 loaves of bread, big loaves. That means the sizes of these breads are that of a child. Is somebody catching something new here? That small loaves of bread the child was carrying. How can you give your child 5 big loaves of bread? You want to kill the child of constipation? Jesus picked those 5 loaves of bread, but he did something. He lifted it up to God and gave thanks. Why? The power of multiplication is in God's hands. So what happened? The power of God comes upon that seed, and the seed multiplies and gives a harvest that could feed 5,000 people with leftovers. Can I show you a simple slide once more time? How this church started. You see me speaking faith there. We were using a canopy out there, small canopy, 2 small canopies. Can you cut it out? Why am I showing you this? Even though our beginning was small, even though we started under a canopy, even though we didn't have proper equipment, we didn't have a proper organized choir, we didn't have departments. But hear me, somebody, as long as we continue repetitively, as long as we continue routinely, as long as we continue to do those same things, hear me, somebody, watch me and watch time will tell, you will discover that like the great river Amazon, I think Amazon, and I know Amazon works, we one day will get into a point we become so great. I want to show you one last key. Number 3. Build towards your big vision. Exodus 23. Exodus 23. Exodus 23. Are you there with me? Verse 27. The Bible says, I will send my fear before you. I will cause confusion among all the people to whom you come. I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field become too numerous for you. Little by little I will drive them out from before you until you have increased and you inherit the land. I told them in the morning service, and somebody confirmed to me, he went to the net to check. This piece of paper, because some of you were in the first service are here, I am not going to ask you of the answer because I've already given you the expo. This is an A4 paper. If I fold it into 2, and fold it again into 2, and fold it again into 2, and fold it again into 2, it's been proved that no matter the size of the paper, you cannot fold it more than 12 times. And that if you fold this paper 42 times, the volume of this paper is from the earth to the moon. I read it, I didn't believe it. Just like you are looking at me, it looks unbelievable. But the calculation is there on your systems. Go check it out after service. And if it is not true, come back next Sunday. I'll give you the microphone. Hallelujah. It's not magic. The reality is that you can't do it. Now, how many of you want to make money here? Who wants money here?